Hi everyone, welcome to week 3 and 4, discussion 2.4, where we're looking at assessment strategies. What I wanted to kick off with is just a quick housekeeping note. So you may have noticed if you head into a discussion page earlier than when it's going to start. So for example, next week's one starts on Monday. I've already made a little note, a little post at the top. That's basically just so that I can hold the first spot before anyone makes a comment, and I will go in and edit my post. So your first port of call, whenever you head to the discussion page, you can have a look at my notes at the top there, which will always be the top post. And then if anything extra comes to light, or I have extra information that I need to give you that's based on that discussion, possibly to do with an assignment, etc., I will post on that top post. So you don't need to scroll through and check for extra information. Anything that I add to that will always be on that top post. So make sure you check that top post for vital information. So a quick test for you this week, just to see if you're, well, first of all, reading what I've popped up the top and you're getting that extra information, and to see if you're revisiting the discussion page as well. So this week's discussion, it's fortnightly, so 2 weeks for this discussion. We're looking at assessment strategies. So I just want you to have a quick think about assessment, what it means to you. We've all had an assessment, been involved in an assessment, been assessed, assessed someone else, whether it be at school, back in high school, at uni, when we've had exams, we've had oral exams, we might have taken certain tests. It might be an assignment, it might be an essay, it might be PE class, or in the sporting realm where we've had to do a beep test, which is a form of an assessment, or a fitness test. It might be in the corporate world where you've had to do some kind of assessment or a peer assessment. I want you to have a think about that, and I just want you to think of an assessment that you really don't like, that just upsets your day. So and I just want you to hashtag that. So for example, I, as part of my fitness course the other week, had to do a beep test. All right, so I'm going to hashtag beep test up the top of my post, and I want you to hashtag an assessment that you dislike. You could have been involved in it, you could have given that assessment, either it be to a student or a colleague or a peer. So hashtag assessment you don't like, and we'll see who's checking in with the discussion boards that way as well. All right, to this module's activity. I'm just going to refer to my notes. So you need to think about the assessments that have been visible in the videos that you've watched, having jotted down those assessments. Just make a note if it's a list, or you might like to add to other ones that people have posted, the types of assessment that we've seen in the videos. So for example, there was conferencing, there was running records, there was informal assessment and ongoing assessment, which was some questioning by the teacher, discussions, we had portfolios, we had work samples. All right, so all of the form of assessment that was evident in those videos. After you've thought about the types of assessment that have been given as examples, you need to think about how suitable those assessments are for different age groups, different year levels. Now, with assessments, often they're applicable to all age groups and year levels, yet the depth that you might go into something, or how far you can take the student in that assessment, how much information you're going to get from that assessment, is what differs. So let's just have those conversations. One example, when I do conferencing in my classroom, so I've taught from year prep to grade 5, 6, even high school. The information that I gain from a conference with a grade 5 student as opposed to a prep student, it's a lot more scaffolded, a lot more teacher-directed when you're conferencing with a prep student, as opposed to conferencing with a year 5, year 6 student, where a lot of the ownership is passed on to the student. The students are forming their goals, the students are coming up with areas they need to work on, and you're almost facilitating that, as opposed to guiding, if not modelling, to a prep student. So there's one example of how the same assessment can differ. Running records, for example, in the video, the teacher mentioned that she is using running records every fortnight. So fortnightly, she's assessing her individual students. She was in a grade 1 class, so running records at that stage are really showing the strategies the children are learning and using as they're learning to read, which by the time students get to grade 5, hopefully they should have a lot of the more I suppose, the basic skills that they need to be able to decode text, and we're focusing mainly on comprehension. So the number of times you might use a running record for a student in grade 5 as opposed to a student in prep will be a lot less. When I was in a grade 5 classroom last year, we would sit down and have a running record with a student once a term, as opposed to in a grade prep class where you might be recording them every 2 weeks. Okay, so there's an example as well. Then you need to think about what information would that particular assessment give you, and how it would help you. So how would you use that assessment? Some of those assessments are going to be really useful. For example, a running record might inform you and inform your teaching what your focus is for your guided reading lesson. So you've got abled students in a group, they've all got the same need that you've identified from a running record, and that's how you come up with your lesson plan or your lesson goal. So there's one way you might use assessment from a running record. So you're using assessment to plan. You might also be, using assessment to come up with a mini lesson or a focus for a whole class. You might be using the assessment to gauge how your teaching's going. So in the video where the teacher is conferencing with her students or having those informal discussions about their knowledge of the life cycle based on the artwork they've done, that was purely to inform her of how much the children already know, where she can go to next, or if they're actually understanding their intent. So that's the next part you need to do. And don't forget, you need to reply to a peer as well. So you need to give every peer feedback on a strategy that they've identified or assessment that they've identified, and make sure that you post a comment on that. So it could be as simple as, yes, I agree, that's tailored more to a prep class or more to a grade 5 class, or it might be that you disagree and that you think that is actually applicable to all areas or something like that. So make sure you give your peers feedback, comment on a strategy, assessment strategy they've chosen that you haven't, so that you're getting used to looking at all the different ideas of everyone else and supporting each other to improve our learning. So 3 things you've got to do. List the assessment, talk about which ones meet the most appropriate for or the needs of a prep or, say, a grade 1. Talk about the appropriateness of the assessment task. Talk about what it is that you'll gain from doing that assessment, and then comment on a peer's post as well. And don't forget your hashtag, please. So hashtag for me, big test. I'll look forward to your thoughts this week. Bye.